Est-ce que vous nous entendez, Angoulême? Est-ce que vous nous entendez, Angoulême?
Est-ce que vous nous entendez?
Le son n'est pas assez fort. J'ai l'impression que le son n'est pas très fort. Tu vois, il n'y a pas beaucoup de niveau. À vrai dire qu'on est derrière le.
Ouais, quand même, ça bouge. Ça bouge.
Là, par exemple, c'est parce qu'on va passer là.
Ah oui.
Je suis désolé. Est-ce que vous nous entendez, Angoulême? Je ne sais pas, nous, on ne nous entend pas forcément, mais ils ont peut-être pas le micro aussi.
Ils n'ont peut-être pas encore.
Moi, je crois que ça bouge. Ouais, oui, ça bouge. Et quand on parle en face, tu vois, c'est bon, le niveau est bon. Et la sortie, c'est quoi? C'est ça, c'est la télé, donc c'est bon. Écoute, on va laisser comme ça, puis on va attendre. Hein. Ouais. Et puis du coup, on peut désactiver le son pour le moment, en bas à gauche.
Pas d'image.
Non. Est-ce que vous nous entendez, Angoulême? Angoulême, nous entendez-vous? Non, je réponds. Nous entendez-vous, Angoulême?
Bonjour. Est-ce que côté Zoom, quelqu'un pourrait parler, qu'on vérifie que qu'on vous entend bien?
Voilà, est-ce que vous nous entendez, Angoulême? Nous entendez.
Est-ce que vous nous entendez? Ah, ils sont en train de réagir.
Nous entendez-vous? Nous entendez-vous?
Oui, alors justement, c'est ça que je vais faire.
Est-ce que nous, on vous entend? Ça, c'est encore une question.
Tout à l'heure, on avait. Ok, il faut qu'il fasse.
On est bien là.
On vous entend.
Je sais pas si on vous entend.
Et vous faites un peu trop de bruit. On m'a dit de vous dire.
Qu'est-ce qu'on entend là?
J'ai l'impression que c'était toi.
C'est moi?
Allô, vous nous entendez?
Ah, il y a un lag.
Nous, on vous entend. Est-ce que vous nous entendez?
Ouais, vous faites trop de bruit.
On fait trop de bruit.
Ouais. On entend tous les bruits de la salle, tout le vos câbles qui bougent.
D'accord.
Mais on va baisser le son ici, mais
Non, mais on va essayer de faire. Oui, on va surtout couper le micro de toute façon. Ouais.
Vous nous entendez toujours à Poitiers?
Oui, on vous entend, vous entendez?
Très bien. Bon, nous, on est loin d'être plein ici. Mais je pense qu'on va quand même commencer parce que sinon on va finir en retard. Ça vous va?
Oui, très bien, très bien. On est loin d'être plein, nous aussi.
Oui, c'est pareil, hein. On n'est pas nombreux.
Ok.
Allô? Oui, c'est bon.
Est-ce que vous m'entendez ou pas? Je fais un test avec le micro.
So our game is Creatures. We were 6 in the team. Robin in programming, Gabriel as a sound designer, myself as a 3D artist, Fabien as a 2D artist, Fabien in Poitiers, and Julie and Elodie in Poitiers as a 3D artist as well. So, in Creatures, explore a world inhabited by odd creatures and gain their affection. Our intentions were to have creatures wandering around in their natural habitat. You have to explore different biomes to discover different types of creatures and interact with them to gain their trust and affection. So pet them and feed them what they like. So creatures have a preferred player. If you take care of them and earn their love, they will begin to follow you around. The creatures don't belong to you, so careful how you treat them or how long you're absent, because they could lose interest and someone else could earn their love. Find new creatures to fill your encyclopedia, and a chat allows players to share infos about creatures' hiding places and what they like or dislike. In our game, every feature is not included, but we can play now.
So we can move around and throw different fruits, and we can feed the creature here, and they like us if we send something that they like. But if they throw something that they don't like, they don't love us. So then we can walk around and that's it basically. And yeah, I reconnect the second player. And basically we can throw fruits at each other, and it's fun as well. It's 1, 2, and 3. And that's basically it for now. We don't have had much time to implement that the creature follow you, but we have the code to make it work basically. But one more day, we could make it work. But yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
Maybe you can cut the game. Thanks. Is there any question?
What kind of evolution do you expect from this work you have done in the very brilliant session? Can you tell us what could be the evolution of your game now?
Basically, as we said in the presentation, that we have a plan to have different creatures that they can follow you around if you get their affection. That you have an encyclopedia that you can fill in and you discover new creatures, stuff like that.
And more interaction between players with the chat.
Okay, here in Poitiers, I have a question. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The name of the game, Creatures, maybe is it related to a 90s video game that's named Creatures? That was very interesting in IA in games. Do you know it? No, the name?
No.
By it's Millennium Interactive. I don't remember, Axel, if you remember. Creatures.
Yeah, it was made by a video game studio and a research lab in AI. And it was based on neural networks, and you can teach things to the creatures, like how to talk, what the words corresponds to each object in some kind of environment where the creature evolves. Yeah, it was an interesting challenge, but quite boring to play.
Yes, it was. But there was a not so boring game, a bit like that was named Black and White by Peter Molineux from Lionel Software, if I remember. And do you know it? It's from the 90s too, with a big creature that you feed, or you slap it, or you are kind with the creature. Do you know it? No. No. So okay. So I was wondering how you link your game to other games or interactive experiment that you could know maybe.
Well, the idea was based around kind of like I don't know if you know the Chaos Garden in Sonic Adventure, where you can take care of a little curious creature, and they can evolve when you take care of them. It kind of stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
That's basically it.
And what kind of behavior? How did you code the behavior of the creature? What kind of behavior is it?
We didn't really think about that. Well, the only behavior that we thought about is like the creature could follow you around and I don't know.
And they lose interest if you are absent too long, or if you don't feed them whatever they like.
So, with that in mind, what would be the metaverse aspect that you put interest in? Maybe it was persistence or something like this?
Well, yeah, it's kind of a world where you have to basically go back regularly to take care of the creatures that you like, so that you preserve their affection, basically, and so maybe to prevent that they die, maybe, I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
No more questions? Public, audience?
So the Ease is a nice feature of the creature, the system of the Ease. And do you have different shape of creature, or this is always the same shape, but just different skin for the creature?
I don't really understand what you mean by shape.
I mean the form of the creature, because I've seen some different skin.
In our
Discord, yeah.
demo, there is only one creature
but in
and
the
one
future,
shape.
if you project.
But we wanted to make different biomes and different environments with different creatures in it. So yeah, there would be different shapes. And
the idea was to keep the system of the A's for each creature?
I mean, maybe it would depend on the creature, I guess.
Okay. No, that's it. Can we try? We have time to try?
You can try if you want, but there is nothing more than what we showed. Just throwing fruits and moving around. But if you want, you can.
C'est moi qui fais de la merde.
Juste pour savoir, c'est que là, vous êtes deux à jouer, c'est ça? There are two people playing?
There are 3 people playing.
Ah, okay, cool. Thank you, thank you. We didn't know what you were doing. Good, thank you. Si tu peux couper le micro, je te remercie.
Allô? Ouais. Ça pourrait être sympa d'avoir un principe où, au lieu d'avoir différents boutons pour lancer les différents fruits, d'en avoir qu'un seul, mais en fait une liste aléatoire de fruits qui seraient disponibles. Et du coup, il y a des moments où il faut appuyer sur le bouton pour pouvoir effectivement donner le bon fruit, mais des moments où il faut faire attention à pas justement spammer le bouton pour nourrir les bestioles, mais d'esquiver, comme si on jetait le fruit qu'on n'avait pas envie d'envoyer sur la bestiole, quoi. Je sais pas si je suis clair.
Ouais. Après, je sais pas si c'est vraiment notre intention de faire un truc de skill où il faut vraiment réfléchir à comment t'envoies ton fruit et tout. On pensait plus déjà dans notre encyclopédie la remplir et devoir savoir quelle créature aime quel fruit ou quel aliment.
Un bestiaire, quoi.
Ouais, c'est ça, un bestiaire, ouais. Et plus que avoir un truc aléatoire où tu as du skill ou alors...
Et par contre, la question que je me pose, c'est une fois que les créatures te suivent, d'une manière ou d'une autre, tu te retrouves avec une colonie de bestioles qui te suit comme ça dans l'univers persistant?
On n'a pas parlé de ça plus que ça. On s'était dit juste que c'est leur monde avec leur environnement. Du coup, eux, ils habitent à un endroit. C'est juste que quand tu pop, quand toi, tu arrives dans l'environnement, si tu t'approches d'eux et qu'ils te remarquent, ils vont venir vers toi. Mais ça reste leur maison à cet endroit. Et si tu te barres, bah, tu te barres, quoi.
D'accord, ils vont pas rester, ils vont pas te suivre en mode une grosse colonie de bestioles qui vont te suivre, quoi.
On va parler plus que ça.
Non, mais c'est juste la question que je me posais. Parce que ça pose un peu, si c'était ça, ça posait un peu le joueur comme étant une forme de colonisateur pour moi. Et vu que ça n'a pas l'air d'être du tout l'intention, bah justement, je me demandais qu'il fallait faire attention à ce niveau-là.
Ben, on voulait justement que ce soit leur monde et que nous, on arrive chez eux, plus que... c'est pour ça qu'on voulait pas de domestication ou choses comme ça. On les domestique pas, on est dans leur monde et on se balade, nous, chez eux.
Ok, ça marche. Très bien.
Like Diane Fossé, you know the story of Diane Fossé, a scientist, and she studied the gorillas in the forest, jungle, and so they approach them, but there were always a distance between the scientist and the animals, and they respect the distance, and so, but it's kind of domestication of the animals, but very soft. I think that's the way you have imagine your game, no? Kind of to respect the distance between.
Kind of, yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, hello. Our game is called In-Situ. It's more an experience than a game, which means that there are no rules or a specific goal for the players. It's a platform which each player can enter on an open world, and this world is like a canvas in order to express themselves, their ideas, to write whatever they like or draw any design they want, like in street art. So this world is a neutral space that looks like a city. The buildings and the features that we can find on this space are white. There are no colors or music. And the players can use stickers in order to create their designs, to put some colors and put their personality. They can choose between letters for write whatever they want, and some shapes, some colored shapes that they can choose their size, they can combine and create their own image. And so they can use these stickers in order to tag them anywhere on this space, on the buildings, on the trees, on the road, or even they can tag on different images that other players put it before. So this is a place that every time someone enters and tag a sticker, they change this universe, and anyone can enter and recreate their own universe or recreate the idea of the universe that they want to give to this space. Yes. Yes, so we have, this is the credits. And, well, we can show a little bit how it works, the game.
So now we are inside our game, so we can have the preview of stickers. We can move it, jump, and run if you want. So we use hey. We can communicate with the choice of the stickers. So there is many stickers. We have also letters, and so on. If we want to choose a sticker and apply it, and the other people will see it, and it's persistent. That's all we have said, and that's it. It's a kind of we can put a kind of cube to make some things, and something like we can do a bubble and say, I don't know. Yes, okay. Someone can do the input. So, yes, thank you. So right click to trigger. So we can move. We can also with the A and E change the rotation of the stickers. We can also flip with F, so to change the direction. And we can resize with the mollet, the click of the mollet. So that's it. You can right-click and then to open the menu to have all the stickers and choose the one you want. So yes, there is some kind of bug with the draw order for now, but with a kind of extra work, it will be a kind of painting on other things, etc. And we can play with other players and see. You can you see the other player and see what the stickers are they are doing? So, tu peux mettre un sticker? So there is this. We can see all the other players also put the stickers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rea, your explanation was crystal clear. So thank you very much. I have a question about the external gamers. Could they perhaps one day design their own stickers?
If you give us $1,000 by person of budget and 2 years of development, they can do anything they want. That's not the subject.
I told you yesterday that it's not the good question for a producer, because the producer needs to know how much money he could earn from your game one day.
Yes, I'm a programmer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, it was funny, but okay. Perhaps another question.
Yes, I have a question. Can I ask it? I think it's very interesting, and I wonder. I have two questions. The first is, do you know the game? I think it was on PlayStation 4. That's named Unfinished Swan. Do you know it? Maybe
yes.
10 years ago? Yes. Okay. So you know why I tell this or not about revealing. Something white with a covering paint on it. I have a very bad English, I'm sorry. But was it some kind of influence or not?
I think our experience is somewhere between like the Unfinished Swan and things like Airplays, the Pixel Wars, etc. So it's more like a community experience. But it was a reference, like something that it was a reference.
Okay, good. I like the Pixel War reference because of the community on what can occur that could emerge. But you told too about Jet Set Radio or Counter-Strike. I think when I play Overwatch, I see a lot of people doing tags too. But do you know, and I don't remember the name, but I know Antonin in the room can remember, of the artists that use Counter-Strike to put stickers everywhere about peace and love and not fight. Do you know the story? It was maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I don't remember. And maybe Antonin can help me because I don't remember the name of the people.
Yeah, I put the reference on the Discord at the beginning of the workshop. It's Velvet Strike by Brody something and another artist.
Yes, and it's very interesting because there is in your world you can't in your games, in your experience there is no game, and I like this. But could there be other things to do, or do you only want to put stickers?
Well, we wanted to add more things, but we didn't have the time, as it's a very short workshop for what we wanted to do. But the idea was that we would be able to also write text and messages, and not only put stickers, but actually, like, you can kinda write messages already because there are stickers with letters in this version. And we also wanted to allow the players to paint on the walls, like to really draw and paint on the walls, but it's something that's way over scope for the time that we had.
Okay, and I have a last question. I won't have any more questions. One of the first, in the beginning of the 80s, there was a game on Commodore 64, I think, in the USA, that was a tank fight game. And when you finish the game, you could discuss about the game. When people played at it, the people that managed the server, they saw that people didn't play the tank game, but they liked discussing in the chat because it was one of the first chat that people could use, and they discovered that communicating was a kind of game, and the people wanted that kind of game. And here it is, you make the opposite. You make a communication game, and I wonder, that's why I asked the last question, I wonder if people could find another way to play in it. Maybe you know, because they could say, oh, okay, we can paint, so maybe we could paint a maze, we could paint some things. You understand what I mean? Or not?
Kinda, but I guess that our main objective was to give a tool for the users, and then they could create ways to use this tool and build a community and organize themselves to do things together, I guess.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so if that's all, maybe we can end the presentation here.
This is not a question, but maybe it could be useful for you to make a video screenshot of just 2 or 3 minutes of performance of your project, because it's quite nice. And maybe just about the fact to be able to write directly on the wall and everything. My feeling is sometimes is more interesting to limit the tools for the user and just to involve them in engage them how to hack the system. Like, for example, you just fill the tree with the stickers, and it's quite pretty nice behavior. So yeah, my feeling is sometimes it's more interesting to limit the tools and just to observe the behavior of the players.
Thank you for your feedback.
Do you agree that we put it on the Enjmin server? No, but we do it. We don't need you. No more work for you, that's what I mean. But just if you agree, we can put it on the server where it should be. So people can access it from outside and they can play the game. If you want. All the team agrees? Yeah?
Perhaps one interesting feature will be that it will be interacting with the weather. If the rain fall, then the drawing could be deteriorated by the rain and not by people. Like the tag in reality, real world. Great job. The team, good team. Hein. Vous devriez monter le jeu là.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Aspect. Now, for our concept, our intentions were to bring these three elements into our game. We wanted to bring to the players cooperation, as well as optical illusion effects, and finding the right point of view. Please pass to the next. So what is our concept? Our concept is a cooperative puzzle game where you gather pieces of art. They're represented as 2D in a 3D environment. Kelton will expand on this.
Yes, as for the gameplay, so player 1 communicates with player 2 to reconstruct the puzzle. As for the second player, he picks up the pieces, rotates them, and places them in determined spots. As for the camera point of view, player 1 has a fixed one, the player 2 has a dynamic camera. For our inspirations, we got inspired from anamorphosis, which is a distorted projection requiring the viewer to occupy a specific vantage point. Also, our main inspirations was architecture and games such as Puzzling Places, which is a VR game, and Supraliminal.
On the narrative part, we play in an architecture firm. We play in an architecture firm in a retrofuturistic world, and so the concept room is a place for assisted architecture generations. So the architect chooses between different city atmospheres, and then it generates images in the creation room. And however, a problem has arisen, and all the images created by the AI are scattered in the room. So your goal is to communicate with your assistant to reconstruct these images. And for the puzzle parts, we took inspiration from the architecture, and we had architecture influences such as Escher, Gaudi, or the Brutalist architecture. So the artists could just imagine and create different kinds of illustrations. So I think we can try the game. Thank you for listening.
So we will be playing from the engine. Show you. Okay.
Here, Kelton can actually do the commentary while you set things up.
Okay, so in one screen you see the perspective of the architect, the observer in a way, and we kind of created a concept where you select one of the art pieces. You hear a soundtrack that is kind of reflective of the theme of that art piece. And one of them is selected now. And now the game begins, and the player who's supposed to collect the pieces and put them together can start. And I'll be doing that now. And you'll see both sides. So normally, these are two different screens. One person sees the puzzle being constructed, and the other one just kind of hears what they're saying. And according to the directions, they're trying to piece together the puzzle.
So Zaid now is going to do a demonstration, trying to put the puzzle together. So these are determined spots where we can put the puzzle pieces.
So one thing I would like to indicate is that the player that is in the white room can actually also see the piece of art being reconstructed. You can see it from here via the window. So you are not completely reliant on the architect to communicate all information. There is also, of course, the handy little photo that is before you if you are the architect as well, to aid in you being able to reconstruct this puzzle. Thank you for regarding our experience.
I didn't say that before, but there's a little glass window there. We created that because you are able to move towards the window there, and you can see. So there is an obstacle there that basically prevents the player to just go ahead and try to see what's happening. And from the back side, it doesn't work, obviously. In certain pieces, it kind of works, so we wanted to make it not too difficult. But if you look at it from behind, it's entirely different. So perspective kind of works in our favor there. And yeah, this is kind of the general idea. In the future, obviously from the proof of concept, like little cutscene that I made in the beginning, you can understand that we can choose different ones. There are different art styles, different themes that come along with that. And in the future, maybe the room will be bigger, there are more players, and there are more pieces to put together. And a lot of people can actually do it even together, basically. So one observer, with one observer, more observers. That's the idea. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. Great job. I think that you have resolved many problems, and in a very clever manner. And I think that this game could be for a family also, not just for artists or architects, but also for, I think, yes, a family to try to understand the concept of perspective, or how the things work in the real world. And no, I think it's very, yes, a promise of development is very important here, I think. So, yeah, I have no question, just this remark.
Thank you for your feedback. Yeah. Indeed, if I want to just answer, we had this complex idea by the beginning of the project in terms of perspective, and we found that we had a challenge to do it, and then with the core team, we tried to simplify the adjustment of the pieces, because it was too hard to put all the pieces in a certain alignment through perspective. It's very challenging, it's very hard, so we had to simplify it. You want to add something?
We also had the challenges of basically difficulty is a huge thing when it comes to perspective. It can be either too easy or way too difficult. Balancing this is a bit hard in general. So there is the idea of just freely being able to put anything anywhere, right? That creates a challenge. Even when then we had the idea of like goals. There are specific goals and you have to put them there. That kind of balances it. But also, when you have goals, you have to specify where the goals are. So we kind of created these transparent effects that when you put the piece in, they go away, and then when you take it back, they come back again. So they kind of showcase where you can put the pieces, but they're all over the place. And we want to also make sure from the beginning that, we thought that huge pieces and then very small pieces would obviously be the player would understand huge pieces should go back, and then the other ones should go to the front. So there's a balancing act there as well. There shouldn't be many of them here and there, but there should be some that helps the player a bit, but the scale shouldn't be too different, but also not too similar as well. So yeah, we had these kinds of challenges, and I think we kind of balanced it up in the end.
other questions, we're open.
Yes, I have a question. I don't know if you hear me. You told us of a different size. I really like the asymmetrical gameplay. It's very good. And what you said about what you just said about the skill and the experience and what you have made in a few days. But I wonder how do you imagine that it could be with many more players and maybe wider areas to experiment. So, like you told of Gaudi in Barcelona, when you see the construction of Sagrada Familia, there are, I don't know how you say in English, une grue. Crane. A crane. There are cranes because they are very big elements and they are very small elements too. How do you imagine if you would go on this experiment that there could be a very wide area of experimentation with a big number of players? I don't know if I'm clear in the question. How do we imagine it with more players and a wider area?
Yeah, so when it comes to balancing, yes, like you said, it is challenging to think of way more players. For the time that we had, we were able to do it obviously for 2 people, one observer, one person dealing with the puzzle. But in the future, just as you said, there must be different maybe techniques. Maybe some of the mechanics will have to change. We have to, it will be kind of an evolution of gameplay in the sense that when you add new players, you may have to deal with many pieces, way more pieces, but way more pieces mean more complication. Maybe to kind of make it a bit easier, then we'll have to compromise in other things like scaling will be more obvious maybe. And there might even be the idea of different observers looking from different perspectives, helping each other. These are ridiculous ideas, I know, like from different perspectives, there are different observers and each part looks different. But yeah, just as you said, it will be a challenge to increase players in general, and we would have to kind of change and kind of, iterate on the process and make it better for more players. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you.
Just congratulations, because you push the design quite far and you resolve some many questions of your concept. And even in the title aspect, it's a good title for your project. So congratulations about the design of the title. And my feeling first, it was the onboarding of the game. But it's also quite nice to have this kind of feeling you are in currently a kind of experience, like a Milgram experience, or I don't know, another kind of strange architecture experience, and to observe the behavior of the player. So it's quite a nice idea of this glass between the 2 players, or between the different players, I mean. So congratulations.
Thanks so much. I also want to give credit to the art team. Every single piece of art that you've seen in the first cutscene, 5 of them, 5 different artists basically created those art pieces. And if we had time, we would be able to actually create the puzzle for all of them in different ways and different difficulties and everything. We chose one, but I just want to give credit, all the 5 pieces that they created. Any other questions? Or feedback? Yeah.
Maybe I have just a question. Do you hear me?
Sorry?
Yeah, okay. Did you play Gorogoa? The game Gorogoa? Is it the name of the game, Gorogoa?
I didn't get it, sorry.
Puzzle game with colored things, an eye of a dragon, and you like a comic strip, and you put colorful pieces, and it changes the story The question is, maybe you didn't play Gorgoa, but could there be some kind of a story? Because when you assemble one picture or one art piece, maybe it could lead to another. You understand? And maybe you with different parts, you could with the same parts you could assemble different stories.
Yeah, I totally get that. There is a game actually. I don't know if that's the one you were talking about. There was a game in a VR game called Sea of Memories.
Okay.
Where you basically go through, like you're on a boat and you go through different perspective puzzles, and each puzzle reveals an object related to an event or a person in someone's life, and there is a progressive story. And there is a possibility of actually us having background stories for each art piece, or a progressive story that can be created through many pieces, a personal one, a general one, it can be anything. But yeah, that is a possibility, yes. That would make the game more immersive, or more, I don't know, there would be a purpose to continue.
But what you made was very, very good here in a few days. But I wonder how you would make some evolutions, because I think it's a very good start to make something bigger.
Thank you so much. Okay, that's it, I guess. Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone. Yeah, third group. So we are waiting for the Unity engine to launch on RAF computer, but we're gonna begin the presentation. So we are gonna present to you Polypollen, a game about flowers, procedurally generated with a little garden. Just to present, here in the first half is the Eesi-Graph super team, ultra powerful flower creators and sound designers. And in this half is the Enjmin technical super powerful team, maybe. So welcome to Polypollen. The first time you connect to the Polypollen application, which is web-based, and you can play it on your smartphone, you get a special flower. You're the only one to have, thanks to procedural generation. So on the left, you can see the connect the connect page when you can choose your flower. 4 flowers are presented to you, so procedurally generated, and you can choose one. It is very unique. Then you have your little garden on the right, where you can put your flowers. It is a segmented garden, 5 by 5 parcel, where you can plant flowers. But what would be a garden game without more flowers? So you can get new flowers, as everyone has their own flowers, personal flowers. You can ask them to give their flower to use. So you can collect a lot of flowers. It is a game that impacts your dialogue with others, and the main gameplay of the game is to go talk to others and collect your flowers to have a beautiful garden. To add your flowers, so on the mockup you can see you can take a picture of the QR code generated, because each flower has a seed as it is procedurally generated, or you can, if you don't have a QR code reader, input the plant code of the flower. To put it in a nutshell, world, get flowers, put them in your garden, and make a garden that you like. And that's all. At the end, you have a beautiful garden.
To add a bit on the how we made the procedural generation, to make a workflow easy for graphics artist and all, and myself as a sole programmer, we decided to encode data into the texture. So we use the pixels as references, and if we have a certain pixel of a certain color, it means something, like put a leaf here, put a flower here, and all. And also, we encoded the color palette onto the texture behind. So we will make a little demo if the HDMI God is with us. Yes, I. So for the network part, we are a web-based interface. It's a asynchronous game. So you have an update once every like 10 seconds and not in real time. So little demo. So it disappeared. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
I think it's okay. So I can log in or sign up. So I will sign up to show you. Here I am the Enjmin, and I have a very secure password. And then imagine there is plant. You choose your plant. Actually, there is plant, but there is no visual. So, and you can name it. So, I will name it Lilai. And then I sign up, and I'm in the game. The camera doesn't move now, but
if we move, bam, gardens. With procedurally generated plants, your own little garden. And just to show you the different plants that did our artists, here are them. Those are all procedurally generated with the flower, the feuille, and the leaf, and the tige, the branch. So our artists put little pixels of colors just to know where to generate the leaves and the flowers on the branch. So it is very, very, very random, but you get the idea, I think. And that's all. C'est fini.
Qu'est-ce que je vais dire? No, just first, congratulations for the title, Polypollen. It's quite pretty cool. Maybe that's just not a question, but for your presentation, that could be useful to have some sketch, for example, one player with the phone and scan the QR code of the other player, just to more easy understand the concept of the game, and maybe just some sketch about the system of the red pixel, green pixel, and blue pixel, just the details, not a question. That's cool. Thank you.
And I have a question. I don't know if you hear me.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, thank you. It reminds me of a very old game. I'm sorry. It was maybe, I don't know if the first art game, but one of the first art games. It was in 1982. And the game was by Jérôme Lanier. And it was Alien Garden, I think. And there was two possible things to do. It was collecting alien flowers with alien bees and things like this. And then there was genetics and different kind of plants. But it was on Atari XE, I think. So there was not many pixels. So it was a large white square. but in these games, there was something, and I wonder if it is, if you wonder how it could be in yours, that there was one time where you pollinate and collect and things like this, and there's a time where you just here sitting and gazing at flowers or a garden. So I don't know if you have what do you think of the possible gameplay loops in your game when maybe one loop could be just sit and watch flowers grow? Do you understand?
Yeah. So the main gameplay loop of the game is to have your own flower, collect other flowers, and do your own little garden. But in fact, the gameplay could be scalable with other micro mechanics or medium mechanics. For example, pollination of the flowers could be an idea, but also you have to take care of your flower, to put water in it and everything. We have thought of a lot of ideas of how to take care of your flower. For example, if you don't open the game for 1 month, maybe your flowers will die and everything. So the base gameplay is very simple and it works, and it can be scalable with a lot of gameplay mechanics around the garden area. But it could be completely funny or strange, because it's in the artistic direction of our game also. But yeah, I hope it answers to your question.
Okay, that's your answer. Okay, thank you. I find they are very interesting. You could go on a lot of other things that could be very, very interesting. And I like the aspect flowers, and I like all the gardening games. So I'm biased, but I think it's interesting, and maybe you could go on further to find your own interest in the game. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Why I don't see some door in your frontier or your barrier? Why it's very close your garden? Why?
This way your flowers can't escape.
Okay, but the rabbit can jump up.
Yeah, maybe the philosophical idea of you have your flowers and you can't go to the other gardens because it is completely closed. Maybe it counters the idea of like the barriers and everything. So, but yeah, the answer is just time. We did fences, but we didn't have time to sort of the opening and everything.
What about the color of the flowers? I thought at the beginning that you would have an overview of the different gardens. Perhaps it will compose a picture or a drawing, or I don't know.
Yeah, it was a goal that it was one of the main objectives and one of the game design thing too, to can draw and make your little garden pretty and all. So we have the system of coloring and color palette made by the Eesi artist in the system, but it's not applied now. So in principle, you could have color and all for your plant, and each flowers, branch, and all have different color.
Does it mean that gamers could collaborate and perhaps throw out the barriers between some garden and make some more larger plot?
That was sorry. One of the main idea, so like inspired by the pixel war and things like that, where everybody can contribute little by little, but if everybody contributes in the same direction, it can make something great. So it was kind of the idea to the close distance of every garden, the grid layout we used, and the grid layout of the gardens. You cannot put your gardens freely. It's in grid. So to make a canvas.
The last question, perhaps it could have be perhaps some water, perhaps because we need water to have flowers. No, perhaps it's a problem of water, for exchange of water, or how the water can be distributed between everybody, like a network of water. I don't know, but that perhaps one way to develop your game also.
This is just a reference. A long time ago, in another galaxy, before Pixel Wars, it was Telegarden. Do you know this Telegarden? It was a project made by the University of California, and they create a garden with a robotic crane to take the seeds, water, and everything. And it was a community in charge to maintain the garden. And it was a kind of performance during more than 9 years. So like 3,000 of people manage a small garden with a robotic crane during 9 years in the University of California. Just a reference.
I think that's all. Thanks for the question.
Un rappel, normalement on va finir là, on finit à midi. Ensuite, on reprend à 1h et on va terminer, donc, si ça se passe à cette vitesse-là, à 15h. Donc, je dis ça pour l'Eesi, on aura fini à 15h, donc, bon, voilà, vous pourrez vaquer. Hein 15h, 15h15, voilà. Au pire, 16h, voilà. Si tout se passe bien, voilà. Tu m'entends, Hervé? Poitiers?
Oui, je t'entends.
Ouais, c'est bon. T'as entendu ce que je disais? On reprend à 13h. Hein.
Complètement.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for staying here. So our project is called Atelier. To quickly go over our game, so it's a 2D exploration collaborative creation experience. It's a 2D top-down game, and our concept in one line is populate the sky with player-made constellations. So to go a bit further into our concept, players will spawn into into space, then look for other stars. When getting close enough to another star, that will create a link between both that will break if they go too far away from each other. Once enough players are linked and remain idle for a while, a constellation will be created. Players will then be spread across the map and respawn somewhere else. Then they can start looking for other stars and go over this cycle again and again. So the team was with Zoe from the Enjmin as a game designer, Maxime as well from the Enjmin as a programmer, Felix from the Enjmin as well as our sound designer, Capucine and Theo from the Eesi-Poitiers, as well as Chloé and Théophile from the Enjmin as our game artists, and myself, Antoine, as the manager. Let's go into the game quickly. As soon as it launches. As you can see, you can move around and each player gets a random color. And when moving close to each other, a link is created that's fading between the two colors. So we have yet to implement the spreading across the galaxy once the constellation is created, but for now, this is the game as it is. So I guess that's it. So thanks everyone. So that's it. Thanks everyone. Any questions, feedbacks? Okay.
Yeah, perhaps for the first time, I think about a synthesizer, musical synthesizer, an interface to produce some music, and it's the first time I imagine this for your game as a development, perhaps. Yes, perhaps the question for me was also to define exactly what kind of relationships will be between the gamers, but also between the objects created. And perhaps for me, a physical model could be very relevant because I think that there are two different aspects. One could be to draw something in the sky, like a constellation, like a Sagittarium or figures, or different figures in the sky. But also it could be in a 3D environment, like a sculpture, a physical sculpture in space, and it will be perhaps kind of another challenge. And perhaps the link between the planets, the stars, could be physical, like some wave with a system of elasticity and velocity, yeah, this kind of relation could be explored, I think, very positively. But I think that's very, very interesting play. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the feedback.
Okay, it's not a question either, just it's very nice to see the game on the big screen with the sound of the amphitheater. You've got lots of graphical feedback about the connection and the stars themselves, so good, thank you.
Thanks.
I have a question too, I don't know if you hear me.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Go further on what Frédéric said before. I think that there's something, maybe that's about sculpture, I don't know. Peut-être qu'en le tournant moins vers le... Pardon. There's something about sculpture, but I don't know if you know a sculpture, Pierre Comte, or artists like this in the 80s or the 90s. They were he were a French sculpture, but there were other in the United States too. And they made sculptures that were on the Russian spaceship or the American spaceship, and after on the International Space Station. And the sculptures, they were what you made. That's they were little spheres with some kind of rods between them, and they were moving together free in space where there is no gravity. And I don't know if you knew this, so maybe you didn't make the relationship, but maybe there's some kind of, there is space art, and this kind of representation that you made is part of the history of space art. So I don't know if you there is some interest new for historical part of space art.
I don't know if that was amongst our references for the game, but that's something we could look into. So thanks for the reference and for the feedback. Anyone else?
One more reference just for you. It's Dive from One Life Remains. And this is maybe interesting for you just to check about this reference, because they create a game first, but at the end they realize the game is more interesting in performance in front of the audience. So they had the opportunity finally to present several times the game more than a performance than a game at the end.
Okay, if you could write all that down in the Discord channels, I think it would be better.
Sure.
Thanks. If everyone's okay with it, I think we are done. Yep, so lunchtime.